Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Chapter 4, Text 93. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrī Parīkṣit uvāca atha kṣaṇaṁ niśaśvāsa hanūmān dhairya-sāgaraḥ jagāda nāradaṁ natvā hṛdi vimṛśya. Śrī Parīkṣit said, Hanumān, the ocean of sobriety, then sighed for a moment, and after a brief time in thought, he bowed down to Nārada and spoke. Just want to see 1 second. Commentary: Hanumān's strict loyalty to Lord Ramachandra made him reconsider what he had been thinking. He concludes that running off to Dwarka, leaving aside his regular worship, would violate his exclusive devotion. So he bows down to Nārada to ask forgiveness before saying no to what Nārada had suggested. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. I guess Rati's not here yet. Does anyone know how to make me prominent on the screen? It's not for my ego, it's just for the ability to see. I press view.
Maharaj, if you press view, is there a speaker view? That should do it.
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I said if you press speaker view, does that
view?
Yes, speaker.
Then what do then full screen?
Yeah, then full screen.
No, it didn't work.
The other thing, there's up at the top of your box, there'll be something maybe that says pin. Yeah, it's a little blue box and it'll say like for mute or unmute, and might also say pin. You can also try pinning yourself.
Where is that? View?
Yeah, it's up at the it'll be on the left-hand upper left corner. It might say pin.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that. Those are two things I knew.
Exit, fuel screen, keep on top, mute audio, stop video, view, show manage participants, show chat.
Anybody else know? Those are the only things I know to try.
Exit full screen. All right, you just have to hear me from the little box, but hope Rati's okay because he's so responsible. Okay. Yeah. So, greetings from Sri Mayapur. It's Odarya-dham. And Puri is Vipralamba Dham, and Vrindavan is Madhurya Dham. Those are the three sentiments of full revelation of the self. When your full being is expressed, it's expressed either in magnanimity, in separation, or in intimacy. So this is the Dham, Dhairya-Dham, of magnanimity. When I travel, it's hard to keep up my same sadhana because food, timings, commitments, they change. But definitely you can feel the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And my only regret is that I'm only staying 2 weeks. It's just not enough time even to meet my lunch invitations. Took lunch with Seva Priya today and her son Tamal at the house of Nilambari and Sundar Govinda. Yeah, so it's quite a wonderful place. And by the mercy of Jagadish Prabhu and Yugala Mataji, on their beautiful building on the roof, they built some guest quarters. They would partially greatly think of me and me when I come. And from my room, I have a vision of the yoga pit. So I feel grace. And gratitude is so important because gratitude allows you to experience mercy. If we're entitled, we can never feel grace because we never feel, when you're entitled, you never feel, and proud, you never feel things as mercy. Even if kindness is coming, you never think it's enough. And therefore, you never feel love for God. So it's so important to actually cultivate gratitude. And santosh, to be satisfied. And satisfied means enough. Not enough. We have our basic needs, enough. And that's the essence of the verse, Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tororapi, Sahishnana, Amanina, Madanena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one could chant constantly. And why can you chant constantly when you're humble? Because when you're humble, you can feel mercy. and mercy or kindness invokes love in your heart for the subject of mercy, which is Krishna's holy name. And when you do things with love, that's the greatest pleasure. And whatever you do with love, you can always do. It's the only activity you can always do. Where all other activities like karma and gyan, the activity is not the pleasure. The objective is the pleasure. So the activity itself is not pleasure, it's the objective. And when you get the objective, then you don't care about the activity. But love has no objective. So it is susukam kartam avyam. It's pleasure within itself. So that's also the secret of Mayapur. If you approach it in a grateful mood, you can actually feel the audarya or the magnanimity, which creates a sense of love in your heart for Krishna, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and chanting in that mood. That's the taste of the holy name. Anyway, this wonderful dialogue now, Hanumān's telling Nārada that go to Dwarka, go to Hastinapur, go to Dwarka, at Srila Pandavas. And they have utishta. Anyone who's writing knows that the perfection of writing is the elimination of unnecessary words. And certainly when something is repeated, it's generally got to be eliminated. But in Sanskrit, when something is repeated twice, it indicates great enthusiasm. So here it's in the previous verse, utishta, utishtoshta. How many times? Yeah. Nārada, because Hanumān's saying, you won't see this. You go to the Pandavas, I'm pointing to the Pandavas and their kingdom. And what's given there, what Krishna gives there of himself, it's not revealed. It's never in Ayodhya. And Hanumān is saying this. Never in Ayodhya did the Lord disclose what he now reveals in the district of Mathura, known as Dwarka. So some supreme sweetness. Even the demigods cannot fathom that. So Atishta, go. We should go at once. And then Nārada says, well, what are you saying? Something unseen in Ayodhya, not even seen in Vaikuntha? Get up, my friend. We should go there at once. And then Hanumān, which is very interesting because here he's called dhairya-sāgaraḥ, the ocean of soberness. So Hanumān is not impulsive. So he's explaining this and he's enthusiastic about it. But then he feels some I don't know what you call it. He feels some, I don't know if you call it duality, but he feels some conflict. Because in humility, he's pointed to the Pandavas, and that was described before, that there seems to be an incredible intimacy. Not yet Braja Bhakti, but very close to Braja Bhakti, where in the relationship, there is no obligation. When you deal with a superior, I explained this many times, there's obligation, there's duty, there's obligation, there's fear, there's distance, there's formality. And when you have that relationship of reverence, that's your vibe, that's your mood. You don't want it. So Hanumān has that mood of servitorship, but he's an ocean of sobriety, and he's explaining that there's something deeper. And it's not with any envy, and it's not with any desire for that. It's just like a mother may be very happy that their child has a romantic relationship with somebody very, very wonderful. And she may be happy, and she may even realize that there's something in that relationship that she doesn't have, but she doesn't want that. But she can appreciate that. So Hanumān is saying, this is so wonderful. And then Nārada says, utishta, get up, let's go. And then Hanumān, he sighs for a moment, and then he bows down, because he has to reconsider what he was thinking, that we should go. He has to reconsider it, because he has this ekantaka bhakti, this exclusive devotion that nourishes him, and his heart is so filled. It was described before that his mood of service enlivened every one of his senses. Every one of his senses was not connected with enjoyment. It was connected with service. That's described in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, how the senses, when one's in devotion, they become useless or detrimental when they're not used for the service of Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakta Uttama. The Uttama Bhakti is when Rishikena, when the senses are used in the service of God. So that's it. And Hanumān, it's not just an intellectual thing, his service, that I'll give the fruits of my activities, but his whole body is consumed. He sees all the senses, the eyes for seeing the Lord. And it's going to be described later that seeing the Lord with devotion is also a service. Because what service means is to act for the pleasure of one's beloved. And ultimately to act for the pleasure of one's beloved. Hi, Bo, welcome. Come on in, please. Your seat is there. So nice. I have a huge audience today. Seva Priya has come, and she's come to see class. So all the senses, the feet are looked at as walking to the temple. The eyes are viewed as seeing God. The tongue is used for glorifying God. The ears are used for... So he was just enlivened in all the senses of service. And in that mood of service, completely loyal and dedicated. But now he had pointed out of humility to some devotion that was a little bit more intimate than his. And he's really enthused Nārada to actually go and see that. But now he's the dhairya-sāgaraḥ, the ocean of sobriety. And he's thinking very deeply and contemplating in his heart. What is the pleasure of my beloved? And that's the category of devotion. Jiva Goswami says that real happiness is love, and love means the happiness of your beloved. So he bows down and speaks. And this is very interesting too, because, Hanumān is fixed in his devotion. I was just speaking today. There's a very nice devotee named Radhika, and he's a Brahmin. And I just met him at that park when I left lunch. And he doesn't have a Vaishya bone in his body, but he has a family. And he's tried everything. And the only thing he can do is teach the Shastra. So he's teaching the Shastra. And so actually from all the way from the Grihastha quarters to go, he just walked by to ask me questions. And, they're the typical questions, the fall of the jiva and all these, and they come up again and again and again and again. What are my answers? And, well, I gave several answers, and I mean, one answer is no one discusses in any philosophical school the question of origins. Because origins indicate time. And if something came from God or is ontologically part of God, then there's no question of time, because God is not subject to time. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says you don't try to discuss these things with the dirt of words. And I also explained to him one thing also, that, if you look at existence, there's two mutually exclusive options of what reality is. It began at a particular time, and there was nothing before that. That's beyond our conception. We don't have any experience of that. It doesn't make sense for us from anything that we know. And the other option is it's existing eternally. But do you know what that means? You go back, you go back, you go back, you go back, go back, you go. We don't have any. So the two options of what reality is and what God is, or just what reality is, even if you're an atheist, the two options for reality are both inconceivable. But mutually exclusive means one must be true. But the ultimate reality is inconceivable for us. So when we start to delve with these kind of questions about that realm, nothing's going to make ultimate logical sense. Well, that was one answer I gave, but there was other answers I gave. And then the other one was, where is our relationship with Krishna eternal, or it's given that issue, these issues come, and you really lose interest in them in one sense, but he's a teacher and they come up. And, so I'm just saying it's the same thing like this. You have Hanumān, it seems fixed. And he gave the example of Nārada Muni. He kept on coming in Krishna Lila. There we go. He kept on coming in Krishna Lila, Nārada Muni, but he never, became, aspired for that. He had his own relationship with Krishna. And that's glorious. And the loyalty of Hanumān is glorious. And the same thing happened with Jiva Goswami's father, the younger brother of Sanatana and Rupa. His brothers tried to convert them because they were so much into the gopis. And in that culture, you can imagine your older brother is Rupa and the oldest brother is Sanatana. And they were fully giving him their mercy. So he wanted to come to their path. But at night he cried and he couldn't change because that was his relationship. I was explaining before, Seva-priya, it's just like a mother and the child. That's their relationship. Now, the child may have romance later, may get, and they may see this as something more intimate, but the mother never wants that relationship. They're all perfect. They're fully satisfied. So Hanumān is this exemplar of dhairya-sāgaraḥ. So even though he's the ocean of sobriety and he can understand that there's something higher, it doesn't mean that he wants that, because he's so nourished by this. So now Hanumān, and so he's. Oh, so I described with Anupam, and then the next morning came. I can't change, and they glorified him. How glory is that that servant of the Lord that's fixed in his service. So now Hanumān's going to respond, and in this book, it's just so beautiful because, there's this one Nityadas, Jiver Surupahai, Krishna, we're eternally servants of Krishna. But that service takes on very flavors in different relationships. But when you study these different flavors, no matter what flavor you study, you're studying dhairya-sāgaraḥ, and you become attracted to that. And it's a very, very beautiful thing. So it's so nice. In each devotee, it's practically one thing that comes out in everybody's mouth. It's their anya bilashita shunyam. They have no other desire than to serve Krishna. And that's love. And if you believe in universal love, then that's what it would mean, except it would be towards everything because you're worshiping God. So now Hanumān responds, Śrī Hanumān uvāca, Sīman mahaprabhostasya, preshtānam api sarvata, tatra darsana sevartam, prayanam yuktam evana. Hanumān said, certainly it would be fitting for us to visit Dwarka to see the Pandavas and offer them service, for they are in all respects most dear to the personality of Godhead and his consort. So this is Narada's search. Who's the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy? Who has the most love from Krishna and who has the most love for Krishna? That's also our search. You know, that verse, Dadati Pritagrinati Guyamatyachi Prichati Bhunte Bojyate Chaiva, these loving exchanges. We want those because loving exchanges open up conduits of our hearts to others, and there's a sharing of hearts, and that's one of the ways that one advances in devotion. So to actually look for advanced Vaishnavas and exchange love with them in these ways. So Hanumān said, of course this is good. To visit Dwarka and see the Pandavas and offer service for them, because they are it's so fitting. And the commentary, 2 good reasons to visit the Pandavas is to see them and offer them service. Or the reason is actually one, because seeing them is itself personal service and transcendental worship. Well, just like you offer a flame, when you offer a flame, it's actually offering your heart. So you can offer love because it's a conduit of love. Just like you offer flowers, what's the service from flowers? It's an expression of your heart. When you want to please someone, you offer the best. That's bhakti. That's Srimati Radharani. She's Mahabhav Sarup. She's the form of the highest love, and therefore it manifests in a concrete way in beauty and qualities. But it's not just the beauty and qualities. They're the Mahabhav Sarup. They're a manifestation of the love. And our love is manifest also in the gifts we get. I got some nice Christmas gifts today. I went to take lunch and Savior Priya, can you get that little picture there? Savior Priya gave me some nice gifts, including some candy canes. But within the bag of candy canes, there was also some very substantial things for my service. And then this 7-year-old girl who loves me so much. She was sweet, wasn't she? And you can see how cultured she was. She sat there and took lunch with us, and a very beautiful girl. And she made that picture for me, 7 years old. And then they have a fair. They have a fair in the courtyard where people sell all kinds of food and different things. A friend of mine was selling organic vegetables. So she sold her paintings and she made 1,000 rupees. And she went and she bought sweets for me. She is very nice. So I saw that I wasn't even wanting these cupcakes in one sense, but they were beautiful. They expressed affection, and that's the way the world is. So it's interesting seeing seeing can be a manifestation of love, but it's just how you see, right? And the other thing is an office service. And these are the two of the three symptoms of one who has prema or love. They want to see that person, they want to serve that person, and they want acknowledgement of the relationship. So Hanumān's saying, yes, this would certainly be fitting. This is a good thing. Hintu tena dunajashram mahakarunya madhuri yata prakash yamanaste gambira purvatodika. But the Lord is now displaying uncommonly intense mercy and sweetness, more confidential than anything he has ever shown before. So there's somehow this hierarchy of relationships, but it's not really hierarchy in one sense. They're all perfect. But somehow in the variety of love, akila rasa mrita murti, that Krishna enjoys and experiences, there's, in what we can say, different levels of intimacy, where the expression of one's love and the reciprocation of Krishna's love is revelatory of more of themselves. So he's saying, because Hanumān says, I have a relationship in reverence, then the intimate side of Ram is not shown for me, nor do I want that, because it's so sweet, my Lord, my Lord. I remember when I took, this was amazing. I took Bhakti Tirtha's disciples to Govardhan, and one was Mother Indrani. She was an old black lady, and she was a little bit crippled. So I met her on the side of the temple, and the first time she was in Vrindavan, I said, how? You said, yes, but I can't go on Parikram because I can't walk. I said, I'll take you. I have a bus. So I took her, and I took Bali, this really old saintly African-American devotee, and I took them on the bus, and I drove the bus right up by Govardhan Hill so she can get out. And she got out and she just started saying, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. And it's just so beautiful, my Lord, my Lord. It has such a flavor in itself. I was so impressed. And then this Bali, he had tremendous wisdom. He was a simple guy, but he had tremendous wisdom. So I was preaching to them. I said, in Govardhan, Bali, you feel the presence of Govardhan, everywhere, right? I said, just like when you're in Gitanagari, you may feel the presence of Radha Damodar everywhere. And he said, I feel the presence of Radha Damodar here. And I said, wow. And then it was so great. I took them to Radhakund. And two of the godbrothers of Indrani, they had to carry her. And they carried her down the steps. But obviously she couldn't bathe. And then it started to rain. And when it started to rain, a pandit came and looked at us and said, when it rains in Radhakund, it rains Radhakund. So I'm just thinking, so that's very beautiful. But here he says, Ajashram, uncommonly, and currently, he's saying Krishna is there, and what's happening? Mahakarunya Madhuri, the great, uncommonly, Maha, intense mercy and sweetness is being exhibited there. And it is Gambira Orbita, and it's more deep and confidential. than he's ever shown before. And that means Krishna means when God is fully revealing himself in his intimate side in love. So Hanumān says, okay, Krishna is now and his relationship with the Pandavas is really something exceptional, and it's greater than what's he ever shown in Ayodhya. And you should go there. But because he's dhairya-sāgaraḥ, the abode of soberness, he also has some hesitancy too. That this is not, it's not for me. I have my pleasure of God and my service for God. So but I'm looking at Sanatana Goswami writing, and just all the words, Maha Karunya Madhurya Gambhira, Vichitra Lila Bhangi Cha, Tata Parama Mohini, Muninam Apyabhigyanam Yasyat Paramo Brahma. Brahma, not Brahma, but Brahma. These wonderful pastimes, Vichitra Lila, Bhangi, and these wonderful pastimes, Parama Mohini, they're supremely enchanting. And Muninam, Abhigyanam means Gyanam, self-realized sages. Even they are parama, completely bewildered. The sages, when they see that intimate side. Because it causes, they have this reverential thing, and then this sweetness sides come up, and the Madhurya, it kind of, in one sense, it's antithetical in one sense to the Aishvarya. And I just give the example that, when the house that my parents had in Brooklyn, we moved when we were like 6 or 7 years old, 50 by 100 plot. It had a little 1-bedroom apartment you rent in the back, because my grandfather said you get an apartment with rental. The rental was $100. Just imagine what that was. And then the house, it had like a furnished den. And the second floor was a kitchen and kind of a dining room, living room around, and 3 bedrooms upstairs. So I told this before, my parents were having a party. And, I had a very nice relationship with my father. He was respectable. He was like a respected person. And it's a nice relationship. Respected. And he was a little formal, which is good. I told you, always say, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. It's nice. But, you're up there, and then it's a party, and I'm coming down to the refrigerator. So I walked to the living room, and then I heard him say some kind of things that you say with your friends that are gross, So it's kind of bewildering. Not that Krishna says that, but the more intimate side that's not revealed is different than the relationship and vision you have. So it takes some adjustment. So he says, when the self-realized sages, they see Krishna, and what happens there too is that actually happened to Lord Brahma. When he became a little bewildered, it was Brahma vimohan, greatly bewildered. And what was bewildered? Because he saw Krishna, who he saw kill Aghasura, and saw Aghasura's soul come out of and merge into the body. And then he saw the same person just playing with his friends, which is on a platform of Aishvarya, if that's your lens, that's very ordinary. If your lens is Madhurya, that's very extraordinary. So it's an adjustment from seeing Aishvarya to Madhurya. But when you see the Madhurya and you get into the Madhurya, it's very extraordinary, because the love is so powerful and exalted. So when he saw it, he had that bewilderment. Yagyabuk Bali Keli. Is he Yagyabuk? Is he the one that's eating all the yagya? And that whole story goes that way. So the sages can become bewildered when they see Krishna like that. So Hanuman's about to admit his fear of offending Sri Krishna and his devotees. Even in Dwarka, what to speak of Vrindavan, the mood of devotional service in the company of Sri Krishna is more relaxed than Hanumān is accustomed to. So he's worried about becoming confused and doing something wrong. At the same time, he readily acknowledged that the charm of Dwarka and the intensity of Krishna's mercy there have never been shown anywhere else, even in Ayodhya. So it's natural. He doesn't want to offend, but that's how people are relating in that way. Aho bhavadrisham tato yato loka pitamaha veda pavartakacharo mohan brahma yavindita. Just see how even your father Brahma, grandfather of the world, founder Acharya, the Vedic teachings, was confused by the pastimes of Krishna. Commentary. Brahma, do you have the time? Because I've got like, okay. Brahma is the first of all the Vedic Acharyas, the Manus, the Vyasas, and so on. But when he kidnapped Krishna's friends and calves, he was shown such a display of Krishna's supreme magic that he lost his power to act and think. Okay. 7:16. Oh, yeah, right. That scene is great because first, he's bewildered by Krishna's Madhurya, and therefore he steals them. And then when he comes back, then Krishna exhibits his supreme Aishvarya. And all the cowherd boys are Vishnu forms with kirtans around and devotees and all the different shaktis and energies and around that he becomes. And it's described that just like when you eat, if you eat too much, your digestion and hunger can shut down. So it's described that the Audarya, the magnanimity of Krishna's form flooding all his senses, he became blind. His eyes just shut down. And then he fell to the floor and he couldn't see. And then when he opened his eyes, then he again saw Krishna just as he was originally. Prabhupada had some statement in those purports, Krishna never falls down from the position of Krishna. In other words, when he's a young child, hasn't come down from the position of Krishna. He's still the full supreme personality of Godhead. So Hanumān is saying, even your Nārada, your father became completely bewildered. Like, so now Hanumān's a little bit hesitant. I don't want to go into this intimate thing. I don't know how to handle it because I have this mood of respect. And I don't want, on that level, I don't want to commit offense. And I don't have that intimate relationship. Vanaranam abudinam madrisham tatvakakata vetsi tvam api tadvritam tadvishanke paradita. So what can be said about foolish forest monkeys like me? Because of how strangely Krishna's pastimes unfold, as you also know, I'm afraid of committing offense. Commentary, if Brahma could become bewildered in Krishna's presence, Hanumān thinks that I will lose my intelligence the moment I see him. Someone might try to explain to Hanumān, but those who are bewildered like that are jnanis, sages attached to dry knowledge. Brahma became confused because of attachment to his knowledge and high position, but pure devotees won't succumb to the same bewilderment. Hanuman's answer is that Nārada himself became bewildered when he visited Dwarka and saw each of the 16,000 palaces a different Krishna. Astam vananya bhavanam dasanam paramagati prabhu vichitra lilaiva prema bhakti vivardhini. Let the wonderful, varied pastimes of the Lord be the very life of his servants who think nothing of him. For such devotees, those pastimes always increase the ecstasy of love of Godhead. Commentary: to remember the pastimes of the personality of Godhead is not only his devotees' gati, the aim of all their endeavors, it is the paramagati, their only resort and protection from all dangers. Atapi sahaja vyaja karuna komalatmani avakrabhava prakritav. Wow, this is long. Wow, can't even read all of it. I'll just read this last one. So this is Hanumān's Bhav. Even so, even what he said, I simply feel more attracted to the Supreme Lord in his eternal identity as Sri Raghunath, the son of Dasarath, and the joy of Mother Kausalya. His heart always tender with natural, unaffected compassion. He is spontaneously attracted to loving exchanges with his devotees, exchanges free from any tinge of duplicity. He demonstrates how to follow properly the religious duties of a civilized people, and he upholds the strict vow of having only one wife. In the shyness of innate humility, his face always looks downwards, his eyes fixed on the ground. His exalted character is pleasing to all. He stands with bow in hand, the king of kings, the hero of the city of Ayodhya, served by Sita and Lakshman, and with Bharat as his older brother. He rules the race of monkeys as the dear friend of Sugriva and gives shelter to Bibhishan. But my hearing of the pastimes of Krishna, the unlimited attraction I feel towards my own master, has increased. So I remember I was in Mumbai. Well, maybe Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in Mumbai. And I love this story. And he was with Narayan Maharaj because Prabhupada had his court case. And I guess Prabhupada's oldest son was suing for ISKCON. And I think one of the accusations, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhupada's personal servant, is that he usurped ISKCON for his own, from the family. And Narayan Maharaj was there because the lawyers had screwed up. And the only way that the son doesn't get the property of the father is, in Indian law, is if the son takes sannyas, then the family has no rights. And Narayan Maharaj did the fire yagya when Prabhupada gave sannyas. So he would sit there, watch every day as they were trying to cross-examine Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And you can imagine how difficult it is to cross-examine Tamal Krishna Maharaj. But Narayan Maharaj was confused because every day when they go down to greet the deities, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was just by the deities of Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanumān. So Narayan Maharaj couldn't understand this because there's Radha Rasa Bihari. So that's not our Ishtadev. So he went to Tamal Krishna Maharaj and said, why are you worshiping Ram, Sita, Lakshman, and Hanumān? Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, I'm not worshiping them. I'm worshiping the weapons of Ram. to fight in the case for Prabhupada. And then Narayan Maharaj said, I learned Guru Nishta from Tamal Krishna Maharaj. But then he explained that the Vaishnav mood is when they see Lord Ramachandra, or when he sees Lord Ramachandra, he says, oh, how wonderful. Brajananda Krishna is dressed as a king. So this is also, so Hanumān, even though he's seeing the pastimes and everything, he's thinking, my Lord, my master, it is increased, because look at this aspect of my master. So this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is an extraordinary book. It's the first book written, and every chapter is just, every verse is filled. All the words are actually rasika. So now we finish up, and Jamuna Jaya, she always starts with what she has appreciated from the class.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I will.
Thank you so much for this. There is so much there. Well, I'm a Hanumān junkie, so I've just been loving this whole thing. I loved this hearing that he's the ocean of sobriety. That's such a great definition, the seriousness. And I also love the point of like, he's in this, I'm in Dasaras. I don't want to see that. I don't want to be confused. And then I also loved, your unpacking of why Lord Brahma got so confused. We always hear that he gets confused, but I love the way you said Lord Brahma is used to seeing God through Ishwarya. And so there's this little boy playing. So how could that possibly be? And so that was such a good explanation, because I've always, like, when I've heard it, I've always been a little rough on Lord Brahma, saying, dummy, what are you doing? But now I understand it's the lens he was seeing through that really bewilders him. So thank you, Maharaj. I never really
I just love the thing, Yagyabuk Bali Keli. It doesn't fit. The boy with, rice and yogurt and fruit in his hand, that means the whey is dripping down and staining his dhotis. And they're eating off the same plate as the other boys. And then, wait, how can this be the person that's eating all the yagya? So, okay. Thank you, Jamuna Jaya.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a great class. And I love to hear.
Yeah.
Nice. I love to hear that story about Tamal Krishna Maharaj and the weapons of Ram. We have Sita, Ram, Lakshman, and Hanumān here in Potomac, and ever since you told that story the first time about 20 years ago, I've always appreciated the bow, the weapons. I've always appreciated that bow. I always think about that bow, and whenever I go in there, and I always think about Tamal Krishna Maharaj worshiping that bow. And actually, one time I got to go pick up Raja Vihari at the airport. He was coming back to Washington from Vrindavan. And I said, what are all these big bags you have? And he said, I have new bows for Lakshman and Ram. And I was like, and he opened up and let me look at them. So anyway, I have a thing about the bows now. And thank
Hey, Henry, say hello to Saber Priya, because she was in Washington with you.
Hello.
You see her?
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Thanks. That's such a nice comment, Henry. You're so into the Bhagavatam. It's like
it's your fault.
To all these classes, It's great. Great to see you. Now, is that are you someplace that that's a computer kind of?
Well, that's a photograph I took on Nantucket Island, at a far end of Nantucket Island about 5 years ago, and I use it as my background.
Is it actually in your house, or you do it with the computer?
Oh, I put it on the computer.
Wow, it really looks great. Somehow. Thanks, Henry. Anybody else like to say hello? Such a nice comment.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, Kalachandri and Shraddhanjali. Wow, so nice to see both of you. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. Haribo. Thank you. Good. Well, it's so nice here because Seva Priya is here, and she had such a wonderful relationship with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And that story came spontaneously. And she's here with her son, Tamal Chandra. And then Henry's there, and then you come on. So it's a great remembrance. It really is. Thank you. Okay.
Yudhisthira chiming in.
Now Yudhisthira's here. Wow. We're really having a Tamal Krishna, Tamal Krishna Maharaj's secretary of 25 years. Wow. It's Krishna's really interesting how he arranges things. Okay, thanks. Good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Sri Rupa. So nice to see
Sri Rupa's here.
Another one.
Who got this beautiful name from Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And as far as I know, she was a friend of Prem Bhakti Marg who told her to pick Tamal Krishna Maharaj up at the airport because Sri Rupa always had nice cars, right? Not every devotee's had nice cars. And by the time he got to 26 2nd Avenue, she was practically off to Dallas the next day. So that's great. Wow. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello? You don't have to be related or a disciple or his servant. Anybody else like to say hello today?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Jai Subhadra.
Jai Subhadra, another disciple of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Wow. It's ecstatic today, huh? Jai Subhadra?
So nice. I'm looking forward to coming to see you soon.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty excited too, you know, and I was thinking out at Govardhan. And, you know, Braj Bihari is staying in Govardhan. So I think in the evening, I'm going to have different classes in kirtans. Jai Jagannath is there. He lives in my ashram. I'll get Braj Bihari. I'll have a Kinchana Krishna come, and I'll also speak. And maybe we'll bring Manas Goswami.
Sounds wonderful.
Joel Cayley went to his wedding with Karuna. Okay, great. Oh, I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to really have a great time. It's really nice. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here.
Hey, Tota. Great.
You look great. You're getting some sun.
I don't know. I think it's just maybe the computer. I've got like a tinted screen to make me look healthy.
You look great either way.
I never leave my room. No, but I do a lot of walks now. Although, unfortunately, now every time I'm walking someplace, someone picks me up. It happened twice today. I wanted to take a long walk to Rasamrita Kunj, and I was late. Someone picked me up on my way out. The person who runs Rasamrita Kunj, he drove me, and Seva Priya saw me scooting down with my bike. Okay. Anybody else say hello today?
Oh, sorry.
Jai Shri Radhe. Haribo.
Haribo.
Amrita Kishori, how nice to see you. Okay, good. Haribo. Very nice. Special Christmas sari you're wearing. That's nice. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is Kamala.
Kamala, Haribo. Oh, I'm right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Your dear Yugala Kriti.
Yes.
Okay, nice to see you.
Nice place.
Haribo. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, it's Lal Govinda.
And Braja, thank you for class.
We'll see you soon, Lal.
I'm looking forward to it, yes.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to really have a nice time because I'm kind of planning. And I think our evening programs, I'll give a few of the evening programs. And I'm more eager this year to go out somehow. So I think we'll do more parikrams. We'll visit Barsana and we'll visit Nandagaon.
Oh, wow. I've never been there.
Right. You haven't been there?
No.
I have this idea. I have to get his information of this one devotee taking us there. who's very, very interesting devotee. He has many, many followers in Russia about the holy name. And he used to be Niranjan Swami's servant, and I used to train him. And I told him, what did I tell him? I gave him some mantra. Anyway, but I've been close with him, and he's very amazing because he's a genius in mechanical things too. And the samadhi, he's the one in Prabhupada's TOVP. He just figured out how to set up the whole thing, making all these things and things. He's like a genius in that way. But he lives now he lives in Govardhan. And I'm thinking of having him take us. I mean, he's really Rasika, having him take us maybe to Nandagram. And, anyway, we'll go to Barsana. Maybe we'll go to Biharvan. Did you go? You weren't even to Biharvan? It's about 2 hours, an hour and a half. And it's this huge ashram in the wilderness of Braj, where they live like they keep hundreds of cows, and they keep it like original Braj. It's just mind-blowing. And the thing about the cows is, I was giving class on the roof, and the person who took me said, if you say Jai Radhe, all the cows will come. So you go Radhe, and all the cows come. So I think, we'll go around half on Govardhan side, and then half on Radhakund side. Okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay, I go. Raja, you had your share in Govardhan.
I know. I had a great trip.
but greed is the essence of bhakti.
I'm jealous. I am jealous. I'll let him go. I won't steal his ticket.
No, say, hey, Lal, I saw you have the ticket. Let me see it. No. You're not that cruel. You're very loving.
No, okay. He needs it. He needs it. It's good for both of us if we both go.
No, I see that.
Yeah.
Just nice when a family becomes filled with Braja Bhakti, because it's such an experience when you're there, right?
Yeah. It's by your mercy. It's because of you.
Yeah. And it was nice that you were at Bhakti Vinod and Krishna Mayi's initiation, right?
That was incredible.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's on the side of Govardhan Hill. That was amazing, right?
Oh yeah, the parrots and the gopi dancing. It was magical.
It was beyond belief. Okay. Anybody else say hello quickly?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Gopi Gita. Thank you for class.
Oh. I don't know what. Yeah. There I would have to say buenos dias, but here it's buenas tardes. So I don't know what to say. I guess because you're there, I should say buenos dias. Okay.
Buenas tardes.
Thank you. Okay. Haribo. One more person, then I got to go because we have.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, that's Amala Vaishnava. Nice to see you. Okay. Wow. You always got that Neem Karoli Baba blanket. You look like such a sadhu.
It's cold here.
We were in Barsana, and he was wearing all these heavy, Tulsi things. And he came with me, and I'm giving lecture, and the Brijvasis thought he was the guru. He had everything. He had the tattoos, the beard, the big Tulsi. Okay, anybody else say hello? Okay, I heard some more voices. Good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Kishori Radha.
Haribo, I can feel in your
Haribo.
voice the separation from the Dham. I feel in your voice.
It's serious, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to head out now. I'm going to look at all the names. Wow, such a nice group today of devotees. I see everyone who's here. Okay, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kipasindhu Bebicha, Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo.